What's up, guys? This is Coach Donny from Elevate Yourself, where we change lives through volleyball, training, and inspirational content. Welcome to my volleyball commentary on the Tokyo 2020 Indoor Volleyball Games. If you're new to this channel, I'm a volleyball coach, volleyball player, and personal trainer who provides volleyball tutorials, jump training workouts, and other cool volleyball videos. I recently posted my commentary on the men's volleyball Brazil versus Argentina pool play match, which went to the wire, so make sure you watch that video linked below. In this video, we'll be watching the Brazil versus Japan men's quarterfinal. And watching Brazil a few times, they haven't been looking like their usual dominant team. So there's a chance that Japan, if they play well enough and feel the support of their home country, could walk away with a win. So we'll see what happens in this game. Now we have Brazil serving first, who are the 2016 Rio Olympic champions. And the whistle's blown in Japan, still getting set up. And I think Lucarelli serves. And he forces a quick point. What a heads-up play from Lucarelli, who saw that Japan was still figuring out their rotations. So smart. And he forced an out-of-rotation call from Japan. That was the first time I've seen a professional level team lose a point for being completely out of rotation. There we have Ishikawa checking what rotation they need to be starting in. Maybe some nerves going into Japan, because Lucarelli is usually a jump server, and for him to do a jump float, or a standing float rather, to get the play started. Now we have his usual jump float. Hard serve down the line. Takahashi passes it great. High swing, soft block from Lucas. And quick transition from Lucas. And some of the Brazilian fans from my last video that I commentated between Brazil and Argentina said Lucas is usually referred to Lucao. I remember hearing the Brazilian announcers before referring to him as Lucao, so I'm going to be calling him Lucao from now on, which I believe means Big Lucas. And I think Brazilians usually call Bruno Bruninho. Hard serve again down the line. Takahashi handles it well again, trying to establish the middle to Onodera early. Fast set to Leal. And Leal, when he's in full force, can jump high and hit over almost any block, and especially the Japanese block. So the matchup between Japan and Brazil. Japan undersized, but they have speed, discipline, and technique versus Brazilian speed and power. We'll see which one comes out on top. And Lucarelli misses into the net, but he's off to a great start. You can tell that Brazil is targeting Takahashi, the youngest player on the court, only 19 years old, trying to see if they can crack him under pressure, because Takahashi, this has got to be the biggest game of his career at the moment. And Nishida, rightfully so, Japan's first server, consistently one of the most dominant servers in the world, hits off the top of the tape, and tight set to Wallace. And he's so good at seeing the block. He has that unique jump stop swing and just swings slightly across his body to get a soft touch off of Onodera's block from Japan. And Lucao, he's got a tough serve. He's got a two-step approach, but it can be pretty streaky. He can get on a couple aces. He can get on a couple errors. My favorite part about watching Lucao make a serve-in is sometimes he will run a back row quick, and he runs it the fastest on the Brazilian team. And Takahashi consistent, serving at Leal and setting up Souza. Souza with a little bit of a loopy arm swing. See how he brings his arm down a little bit? That's very difficult to read. Stays open to the setter and jumps behind him. So that's one thing for all middles listening. When you are trying to run a quick set off the net, make sure you stay behind your setters. If you overrun them, it'll be very difficult to hit the quick ball behind you. roll shot into Takahashi. And Nishida in system is also nearly unstoppable.
One of the rising stars of Japanese volleyball, just 21 years old.
He's also an incredibly young player, only 21 years of age. So that's mind-blowing. You have a 21-year-old and you have a 19-year-old playing for the national team against the #1 team in the world. Onodera, pretty good jump floater. And you see how Leal struggles with that jump float. Triple block against Japan, but smart play from Leal to get himself out of that bad passing rut. A little bit inside here, you see how Bruninho just gets it high. What a great diving bump set from Bruninho. And Leal, he's not just a powerful player, he is very smart, as you can see. He can hit over the block, he can also chop it down that corner here. Lethal server, just an all-around player. A little bit inconsistent with passing, but everything else he does such a great job in. And so there he puts Japan in trouble. Can he play it before he gets off the floor? Yes, he does. Free ball should be a quick kill from Brazil here. And a rare miss from Lucarelli. Bruninho might have pushed him a little bit too wide, forcing Lucarelli to hit too far away to the right of his body. But that's the beauty of just keeping the ball alive. Sometimes you play strong defense and the opponent might make a mistake here. Sakita going off with this jump float, targeting Leal again. Another poor pass and an overpass from Japan, but they cannot take care of it right away. High ball set to Wallace, and three-man block sealing the net. And when they play the slow motion, you'll see how Japan finishes their block before Wallace contacts the ball. And Ishikawa does such a great job lining up, pushes his left hand, his outside hand over, and you'll see Wallace trying to go for the tool on his outside hand. Unsuccessfully, but Wallace will probably get that as the match progresses because he has such great vision and such an accurate touch here. Short serve to Souza, one-handed set to Bruninho. Great dig from Sakita here. Out of system swing from Ishikawa. Bruninho gets another chance. And Ishikawa a little bit late to the block. And Leal, they run the quick back row attack. One of the fastest in the world here. Look at that balance from Sakita. And Yamauchi reads that, and so does Ishikawa. But Ishikawa cannot push his hands over in time. And when you have a free ball pass, that is so difficult to read, especially when you have such a deceptive setter like Bruninho. Floater from Souza, and Japan's passing really well so far. High snap, might have been a little bit high for Ishikawa, and Wallace beats the block here. The middle is a little bit late. Yamauchi, I believe, stuck in the middle, and he can only take 2 quick steps. But because he's positioned off the net, the ball waterfalls in between him and the net. Looks like there was a play here during the commercial break. Did Wallace get the pancake? Down ball from Lucarelli. And just out, or down ball from Souza. Wow. Rare mistake from Brazil just to hit the ball straight out from a standing position. Brazil up 8-6. Japan with the serve. Ishikawa getting warmed up with his jump serve there. Now Takahashi was set up, but Wallace swinging so high and fast and hard. He's a skinny guy, but he hits the crap out of the ball. Quick jump step, and hitting hard into the angle. Takahashi reaching in a little bit late, making a late read, and Wallace beating him into the angle there. Bruninho with a hybrid serve. Great save from Nishida. And Lucarelli, wow, great day from Yamamoto with nobody up. And let's see if Brazil's ready. No. Wallace tries to go for the high hands and misses the block there. Once again, Japan earning another point from sheer defense. This is such a great matchup. We had the superior offense from Brazil, but then we had the superior ball control and defense from Japan. And Brazil has been struggling to maintain their top of the world performance throughout this Olympics. Great pass from Lucarelli, and they run a quick set. Sakita looks a little out of position. His base defense is a little deep. Maybe he wasn't thinking that they would actually run the middle and they were kind of run the outside, so he was probably transitioning down the line there. And Lucao and Bruninho, such a fantastic connection. If you don't know about their history, they've been playing together since they were teenagers. And chemistry is something that cannot be replaced other than just playing together. Near foot fault from Lucarelli. Great pass from Ishikawa. Fast set to Nishida. And Nishida undersized, but so powerful here, going off the outside hand of Lucao. Lucao a little bit late due to the fast set. And Nishida only 1.86 meters. But his confidence is like he's 3 meters tall. The way he plays, I love his fire and I love his determination. Cross court serve, look at that. And if Japan wants any chance to beat Brazil, they need to get Nishida going. That is an impossible serve to dig. That's that perfect corner serve. Usually most teams don't want to put anyone there to defend it because it's such a hard area to hit. 124 kilometers that serve. And into the net here. And Nishida is one of those players that you just want to give him the green light. Serve as hard as you can. Get on as many aces as you can. And if you're a middle on the team with a jump float, usually you're going to be the consistent, more conservative server to keep the ball in play. But you need someone on your team to try to go for aces here. Great pass from Yamamoto, a little bit high set to Onidera. Step back tip from Lucarelli. Can they convert on this free ball? And they do, but a 3-meter line violation. It looked like Ishikawa was a little bit late to that ball. So coming back from the timeout from Japan, trying to get their team to get refocused here. And easy jumper from Lucao. Another run from the Bic. Great day from Lucao, and Wallace just tips it deep. High set to Takahashi. Takahashi swings high into the block and gets a great tool in transition. And that has to be Japan's bread and butter. Even when they can't side out and convert immediately on free balls, they just have to continue to dig and be patient and wear Brazil down. We've also seen Takahashi get better throughout this tournament. He is a sponge soaking up this high-level experience and continuing to get better with every touch. If he just needs to toss his serve a little bit more forward to put more power behind it. Look at that heavy swing, fast Bic. That's how you run that back row quick attack, also called a Bic here, right over Souza's shoulder. And nobody up. Yamauchi bites hard on Souza, leaving no blocker up. That's what you call overloading a zone. So they're running down the middle. You have the front middle running for the decoy, pulling the blocker, overloading the middle zone so the high ball hitter can go hit right over, earning that overpass there. And is that a block from Sakita? What a matchup. 5'9" versus 6'7". And Sakita, you see how still their arms are. A lot of blockers want to make fancy moves and try to reach all over the place and be too tricky. But at the end of the day, you just need to keep your blocking moves very, very simple. And you see how his right hand was so still. And rare for him to get a block at his height. Great jumping ability and disciplined blocking technique. But Leal's probably going to win that matchup majority of the time. Brazil is probably going to go back to Leal because this is their best matchup. And Lucarelli just taking over. Can Takahashi score? Oh no, that's Ishikawa. Roll shotting that in. Leal challenging high off the block here. Let's see what happened to Lucarelli. I think he slipped on the floor. That's why he was laying down. And this is why it's important for every position to learn how to pass and set. So Ishikawa finishes his block, but Leal just swings high into the side of the arm there. And Souza talking to Leal here, maybe trying to get him going with his passing because Leal has not been passing well. And even though he's been hitting well, You're going to tire out your setter if you force them to continue to dive and run all over the place. We see Brazil there in the front row having a conversation, probably about who they're going to block here. Passing off the net, another great pass from Ishikawa. Ishikawa and Nishida are probably the hardest hitters for Japan. You see how Ishikawa stays open, faces the setter, and then rotates and hits across his body. That's the best way to generate power as a hitter. You want to use torque, which is rotational force, body rotation. You don't want to arch your lower back and shoulder. That's going to cause injuries in those areas. Solid pass from Lucarelli, and Yamamoto almost with the scoop. But he cannot control that. That's just too powerful. He has a great read and good defensive position. He's a little bit on his heels, so he loses balance as he's digging. When you're playing defenses against such a hard hitter, you want to be balanced with your feet as best as you can. Be stopped at the point of contact so you can stabilize your body and maximize the control there. Souza with an easy jump float, and they handle it really well from Japan, but they dig it in transition. Bruninho with a bump set to Lucarelli, and he hits over the block. I don't believe there's a touch in call from the referee, but Japan should challenge us there because it looked like the ball was out by a couple inches at least. Fast challenge, and looks like they're going to replay the ball across the barrier. That's the only downside about some of these replays is it takes a little too long to bring up the replay. And now we have it. Oh, right on the baseline. Good call from the up referee. And Japan has one more challenge. You get 2 per set. But that looked a lot more out than it actually was here. Brazil with a comfortable 4-point lead. And Japan does not look phased. They look confident and determined. That's exactly how you want to behave in the quarterfinal match. Souza trying to go short, probably to get Takahashi out of his hitting rhythm. I always wonder when the players use towels, do they share towels? Or does one of the assistant coaches have a special towel per person? Because if they do share a towel, I think that's pretty gross. Great jump serve from Ishikawa. That's what we're used to seeing here. And Lucarelli is just ready to attack at all times. And that takes just mental discipline. So you look, he has a bad pass there, but Lucarelli is just ready. He knows Bruninho is going to get him. And a sharp cut. Japan is not ready. Everyone's already coming back for the free ball. Jump float. Great pass from Ishikawa here. And they haven't got a middle set in a while. Yamauchi doesn't stay open to the setter. And Ishikawa with a fantastic dig. Takahashi, can he get a kill out of system? They're getting a lot of tape here. And Lucarelli with a tip. Are they going to run the big with Ishikawa? No, they forced Takahashi to hit into the seam. Great transition. Takahashi gets the short tip from the outside and transitions all the way. Great one-handed dig from Thales, the Brazilian libero. And Takahashi is so fast. I wish they would show the replay of him passing all the way to the right of the court short and transitioning all the way to hit the left side. That is very difficult to do. You need a lot of practice with that transition footwork. Now Japan maintaining their striking distance, 3-point game. They haven't got a lot of middle development from Japan here, even though they've been passing pretty well. They need to get their middles involved in the game to make it easier on their high ball hitters. Another low pass from Brazil. Wallace can't get that in play. And Ishikawa, you might be wondering why is Brazil not blocking that, because most of the time Ishikawa does a fake hit. So they're probably waiting to see who Ishikawa was going to set. So only one blocker, but instead Ishikawa just crushes that. Just that was what we call on-to attack, where you attack the ball on the second contact, which is usually going to be set. And they run the big, and they double commit there. So they probably, that's what happens when you don't establish your middle. The opposing middle will never get faked out by your middle, and so when you do set the back real quick, there's no one to jump with, no decoy. So before they start setting the big to Ishikawa or Takahashi, they need to get Onodera and Yamauchi going on offense, even if it's not a successful kill. They need to make the Brazilian blockers think about the Japanese middles here. There's been a lot of floor wiping. It must be a humid day in Tokyo because it's only the first set halfway through, and Brazil has already requested 3 to 4 floor wipes. But it's important to do that because you want to be safe. Very easy to slip on the floor, especially when you're moving at high speeds here. Ishikawa just misses long, trying to go for that area 5 cross court to area 5 serve again. And Lukao with the service error last time, but he's been also rolling it in. I rarely see him this conservative on his jump serve. Usually he just goes for it every single time. So that time he keeps it in again. And there we go with the middle set. Lukao with another great dig. Out of system swing. Do they touch the net? Yes, Japan gets caught on the net on the way down. Now we've seen the Brazilian hitters do that high cross body into the block swing a couple times. Maybe the set is a little higher than they're anticipating, so the Brazil's just trying to keep the ball in play. And Lee coming in for Onodera. Lee, an undersized middle, but very effective attacker. You'll see how fast he gets on the ball if Japan can pass well enough. Great triple block from Brazil here. High ball set to Wallace, sorry. Are they going to set quick to Nishida? Yes, they do. Even out of system, they still run Nishida quick, making Brazil a little late to the block. You see how Leao and Souza does get set up, but he spreads his hands a little too much. And Nishida gets a seam kill in between that block, the blocker's arms there. Look at that celebration. He celebrates like that whether it's the Olympics or not. He is always in Olympic volleyball mode. That's why people love watching Nishida, undersized hitter that plays bigger than he is. Another soft hit from Brazil. They just cannot connect. And when you give Japan a digging opportunity, they never give up and they'll continue to chip away and grind away at your block. So very smart hitting from Japan. You have to be when you're that size. And they force a timeout from Brazil. Takahashi, a little bit conservative on his tossing. And he hits into the tape. You can see how he's aiming for Leao there. That's something very common you'll see among professional teams. The coaches don't really call serving areas like they do in high school or in college. They have a general game plan. They say these are the weaker passers, aim for these people. When this person's in the front row, this is where they're going to hit. They look for patterns, and it's up to the players to implement it. They don't direct them too much. Wow, great seam serve from Wallace, and amazing pass from Yamamoto, but Sakita so good at his setting. Even though the pass was right, he keeps Nishida in rhythm, fast enough to make Brazil late to the block. Look at that vision. And Nishida gets his whole chest above the net and puts his whole body into the swing every time. I love his attitude. That's something you can't train there. You can't train someone to be that fiery. That's just something they're born with. Shimizu, a veteran opposite hitter, into block for Sakita. Japan trying to score an extra point with some block here, but Wallace is turning it on here. Such a smart hitter. A little bit undersized in the context of the world. Most opposite hitters are 6'7", 6'8", 6'10". But Wallace only being 6'4", 6'5". But you see why he's a starter for Brazil, one of the best teams in the world, because he's got great jumping ability and a great hitting choice. Takahashi coming in hard off that pass. So Brazil, again, not biting on the middle, but sometimes the hitter is just better than the blocker, even when you're well set up. Mauricio in for mainly a passing sub. Leal's got great offense, but Mauricio has been coming in this tournament to pass for Leal, especially in the back row. And this is a great way to finish the game. Fantastic strategy from Brazil here to use their sub. A solid pass. You see him pass a great ball, and that forces an in-system attack. Difficult to stop Brazil when they're in-system. One-on-one, even from the back row, Wallace crushes it. And they have a blocking sub coming in, running the 6-2, Fernando.
So it's a familiar change by Renan Del Zotto, closing part of the
And Allen.
On the service rotation, he sent on Allen and Fernando.
Allen, also the former MVP of the 2019 World Cup. One of his first major international competition appearances. Becoming an MVP right off the bat. That is incredible. So Brazil has a very deep bench. Beyond the starters, they have fantastic players on the entire roster. Souza jump float cross court targeting Takahashi, and Yamauchi gets blocked. I believe Yamauchi rotated a little too early. When you rotate too early on your swing, you bring the ball back to the center, which is not where you want to hit. So you see how he's facing the middle, and he hits straight ahead. You cannot hit straight ahead. You want to hit left or right to make the middle blockers jump left or right. But when you hit straight ahead, the blocker just has to jump straight up without thinking. And Lucao gets a great block. He's patient. He's not even commit blocking. He's react blocking. Brazil with a game point serve. Souza's been doing a great job keeping it in play. He's not going to be the server that's going to try to score aces. He's going to let the Brazilian block do their thing. And Ishikawa has been struggling to get in offensively from this play. But he's been super aggressive. Are they going to run him again on the back set? Yes, they do for that deception. Great setting choice. But Ishikawa just misses that, even though it's one-on-one. And if Japan wants to have any chance of squeezing a second set victory, Nishida's been doing his job. They need to get their middles going, and Ishikawa a little bit more efficient on his attack. Japan with the serve. Can they keep their Olympic dreams alive here? I wish it was not the pandemic, because then you can see how crazy and how energetic the Japanese fans are. Nishida starting off. He's been locked in and dialed in this entire time. His second ace of the match. And great serve, aiming for the seam between Thales and Leal. And if you're new to the Brazilian team, Leal is actually Cuban, defected from Cuba, played professionally in Brazil, and acquired Brazilian citizenship, which is why he's able to play for Brazil. And he's been a huge asset offensively. Nishida, interesting that he would change to a roll shot. I've actually never seen him try to roll the ball short. He needs to stick with what he's good at. No need to change it up, especially with a game this important. You have to continue to go to what's been working, which is your hard, deep serve cross court. Lucao finally picking up the pace on his serve, but as a result, serves into the net. He's been serving a little conservatively during the first set, which actually worked to Brazil's advantage, because Brazil has been blocking and digging so well that sometimes just keeping it in play allows other aspects of your team to come out. Takahashi a little bit conservative with his serve here, and great pass from Lucarelli. Bruninho setting it up. Wow, fantastic dig into the seam, but no communication from Onodera there, so they lose that opportunity. And Japan had a chance to earn a swing in transition, but Onodera and Ishikawa miscommunicated on this play, and they could not get a swing. When you don't get a swing against Brazil, they run their offense at will, and Souza doing a great job facing area 5 and then hitting crossbody when he sees the Japanese middle taking away his angle swing. A little bit conservative toss from Wallace. Kept in play, and Onodera getting into the game. He's been an effective tacker this entire Olympics. So for him to struggle during the first set was rare. He also has a pretty deadly jump float. It does come with a few errors, but he most of the time does have a serving run. And you can see his fastest serve recorded was 113 kilometers. That's very fast for a jump float.
They're in the lead.
And there we go. We had that downward trajectory, but Leao actually passes it really well, and he earns the set. Chicken wing dig from Takahashi, and Ishikawa just rolls it off the block.
Disguised that so well.
That set might have been a little off for Ishikawa. See how he has to reach behind him just a little bit.
Touch the tip.
And Ishikawa or dives inside actually and just pushes it into the block. Sometimes if you just change the rhythm of your hit, you mess up the blocking rhythm, and you get tools like that.
Good start, 4-2.
Japan up by 2. This is the first lead of the entire match here, and Leao struggling again with the pass, but he usually hits himself out of that. That was a great chip roll block. The libero Yamamoto probably would have gotten that, but Onodera there just finished his serve, so he's playing left back defense. Oh, double block. I think they took Sakita off the net, so that's something that you'll see many teams do with a shorter setter. When it's out of system, the shorter setter will back off, and the outside hitter in the middle will try to take up out of system blocking from both sides. That's a great strategy to not allow the team to tool the shorter blocker. But they only do that out of system, which means when the pass is bad or off the net, because the blockers have more time to set up their block. And this is arguably Japan's best front row. We have Nishida and Ishikawa front row. And Sakita with that hybrid, targeting the libero, not a good idea. And Takahashi with the great. And are they going to run that play? Yes, they do. The signature Japan move, the jump set from Ishikawa into Nishida. That has not been stopped once yet. And you see how Ishikawa goes for the fake. And Lucarelli coming off from defense, trying to recover back onto the net. You just have to be mentally ready all the time. So creative with the Japanese offense. And you have to be if you're going to be an undersized team here. And they continue. Okay, they serve short to Souza. And Lucarelli hits the hard, sharp angle. So one thing that Lucarelli does, he opens up to the court. He rotates, but he continues to hit away from his body, because he knows that Nishida took his line away, and Lucarelli hits to the right of the block but continues to rotate because he was looks like he was probably going to hit line until Nishida took away that hit, and Lucarelli sees the block at the last minute. Amazing vision from Lucarelli here. Souza aiming cross court again to Takahashi, but Takahashi's been handling the ball really well. Great set to Yamauchi, establishing the middle and trying to get him going again. So Japan knows that they need to get their middle going even if he gets blocked. Yamauchi finally changing direction of his swing. So you see how he stays open the whole time, which allows him to hit angle a little bit easier. If you rotate too early, you're just going to rotate back into the block straight ahead towards area 6. Ishikawa, he jumped under that one. He usually tosses it a little more forward to broad jump into the court, but you see on that one he jumped straight up. And Japan now up by 2. Can they side out and get a 3-point advantage here? Bruninho, usually with his hybrid serve, he does serve short, trying to get Nishida out of his rhythm. And Nishida set a little far off, and Nishida just keeps it in play off the block. And Brazil unable to pick that up off the floor after Lucao slowed it down for them. Sometimes you just get unlucky with the touch, even though you make the right read. And that's one thing you'll see a lot from Japan is how creative they are on offense, tooling the block, pushing it into the seam, roll shotting. They have to be creative with their size here. Yamauchi jump float serve down the line. Lucarelli takes it off his center line, struggling to pass that well. Free ball pass from Sakita. Another jump fake from Ishikawa and a put away from Nishida. I have not seen a team stop this play yet. Look at that. Ishikawa even brings his elbow back like he's about to hit, and Nishida is just mentally ready whether or not he gets set. He jumps up hard. Wow, amazing. The only way you can stop this, you have to have one blocker committed to each hitter. Most people will try to stop each hitter with 2 blockers each time. Japan up by 4 points. What a great lead so far in the second set. But one thing you can never do is to count Brazil out. They are mentally tough, physically gifted, and technically sound. Another jump foot from Yamauchi, easily handled from Thales, and it's almost kept alive from Takahashi. When you run it in system like that, and Onodera makes a good read, and Lukao does a great job aiming away from the middle towards the late block of Takahashi, getting that easy tool kill there. And that mask just makes Lukao even more intimidating than he already is. And Lucarelli with a hard jump serve, but Ishikawa's been passing really well. High snap from Takahashi. Great day from Bruninho. Out of system dig. Ishikawa's been playing great defense. Can Takahashi? No, he cannot convert. A little too tight to the net, and you saw how far over the Brazilian block was. Fantastic dig here. Scoop from Ishikawa. You see how far over Brazil is. They almost contact the ball before Takahashi does. An intense look from Wallace de Souza. And Lucarelli getting his Brazilian team going with his jump serve, but misses long on that one. Sometimes when you miss a serve long that feels good, there's almost no difference. Maybe a few millimeters of contact difference. But that's just part of being aggressive. You have to let go of a little bit of control to get more power. And you'll see that a lot more in the men's game. And you'll see that especially with Nishida. Wow, fantastic serve. But another good pass from Thales. And Nishida playing defense, and Ishikawa going around for that D-ball. And this is a crazy play from Japan here. So Nishida gets the tip. He gets out of the way, and Ishikawa comes around for the D-ball because he knows that the pipe is no longer available. And he's just ready for that play. This is all thanks to Nishida's tough serve. When they can bring Brazil off the net, they can just focus on 2 hitters. And they bring them off, they keep them on the net. And when Brazil's on the net with their pass, even though it was pushed a little right, Bruninho is so great at keeping his hitters in a fast rhythm here. And good cut from Wallace de Souza. It's almost impossible to read Wallace de Souza. Even when his body's facing one direction, he has such a flexible shoulder that he can quickly turn another direction. Great pass from Yamamoto, and tip and a net from Brazil for Nishida to earn a tip kill from the back row, which is the longest distance. That's how you know that the other team is on their heels. They're expecting to get blown up from Nishida. And that's why it's important, before you actually try to tip, kill, or roll shot, you have to establish the hard hit. You have to make the team believe you're going to hit hard every time. Otherwise, they're not going to believe the tip. And Takahashi's been doing a great job aiming towards Leao. Japan up by 4. That's a much better toss. You see how he's jumping into the court. But Thales passing dimes. Sakita, quick transition to Nishida. Nishida tries to get cute with it, roll shots it low into the net, and tells him that was a great set. I think Nishida is just getting a little too tip and roll shot happy now. Wallace de Souza. Medium jump serve, usually serves a little bit harder than that. And a great one-handed set from Sakita, one of the most underrated setters. He's undersized, but look at that he keeps that ball in system, and it's a perfect set one-handed. And Ishikawa rotates, sees the block on the line, and does the same thing as Lucarelli, hits away from his body to get a little sharper angle. Sometimes hitters will change their mind mid-hit, and that's why it's so important to keep your eye on the ball and the blocker as you're swinging. Don't just look at the ball, you need to see the blocker in your peripheral vision. Taking Lucarelli out of that attack with a tough serve, and good soft block from Onodera, but Sakita cannot dig that. What's interesting is they actually switch block Sakita, so they try to put Ishikawa, who usually blocks left side, but they want to match him up against Leal because Leal matched up with Sakita. Even though Sakita got one block against Leal, Leal was going to win that matchup 95% of the time. A little bit conservative toss, and he keeps the ball in play. Easy pass from Japan, and another in-system swing. This time Ishikawa hitting high off of Bruninho's hands. So Brazil read that really early on the block because, once again, Japan has not established their middle as a viable threat. And they got a double block on Ishikawa, but Ishikawa just too smart and too good, aiming high off the hands for that high tool. Sakita with a jump hybrid. We'll see what he does. He serves short to Leal, forcing a tight pass to Bruninho, and a power tip from Lucarelli here. And this usually rattles in between the hands of the block as the block is setting up on the way up. We'll see if we can see a slow-mo here. And this is a rare defensive error from Japan. Usually anything that is not 1,000% speed from the opponent, Japan finds a way to keep it off the floor. And Yamamoto was almost there. Almost crashed hard into the middle of the floor to dig that ball. Another solid pass from Japan. Not establishing the middle yet. Nishida aiming high into the hands. And Takahashi not ready. And they missed that opportunity. And this could have been 15-11. You see the frustration from the Japanese team. They knew they had control over that rally. And a double commit on Nishida and Yamauchi, but such a high hard swing from Lukao. Japan is going to be looking back at that play. And that might have been the play that causes the loss here, because that could have been a 4-point separation again. But Takahashi is a young player. When you're young, it's hard to stay focused for long periods of time, and that's what the veterans can bring. That's that second step approach we talked about earlier, and he just keeps it high in between the hands of Lucarelli, and Ishikawa just does such a good job keeping the swings high. He can bounce it and hit straight down, but as he's gotten older, he's developed a higher, craftier swing. And Brazil bringing in the 6-2. As you can see, sometimes Bruninho becomes a hitting target due to his size. He's not as short as Sakita, but at this point, Japan's been hitting over him and tooling him pretty easily. And Ishikawa, I have not seen him get on his usual serving runs this entire tournament. He's also one of the players that you give the green light to try to score some aces with those errors. So Ishikawa needs to toss it much further in front of him. And Fernando has made an impact, a huge impact off the bench, especially in that match against Argentina. Hard hit and well played by Thales. Hard, deep corner swing from Lucarelli. One thing I love watching Lucarelli play is he has such great vision of the court and the defense here. Thales with that one-handed dig, such great control. And just high, deep corner. That's a great place to swing in transition, because most teams are still playing short towards the block as they're transitioning back onto defense. And Thales has been a key part as to how Brazil is still in this game, passing and digging so well. They finally get Yamauchi going, and Lukao probably not committing to Yamauchi, rightfully so. You see how he's immediately going to the outside because Yamauchi has not been a threat. But you leave Yamauchi with an open net, he's going to destroy the ball there. So it's good to see Japan finally getting their middle going. Can they get Onodera going as well to open it up for the high ball hitters? Solid jump float in the seam for Lucarelli. And Lucarelli hits it so hard off the net. Little tight play from Nishida. Wow. How does Nishida get that play going? Another assist from Ishikawa to Nishida. This is a crazy play. Does he jump off of 1 foot or does he jump off of 2? He jumps off of 1 foot and just rotates it hard across his body. Nishida's just on another level here. And Wallace just has to smile at that play. He knows that no one's going to stop that one. I love that Nishida's just always ready. That's that mental focus you need from every hitter. Takahashi needs to develop that. A little bit high for Wallace D'Souza. He's forced to tip it. And a miss hit from Ishikawa. That's his first mistake on that fake pipe play. And Brazil was just so patient. They've been traumatized by Nishida that they didn't even jump. I don't even think they jumped with Ishikawa. I think they were waiting on the ground, ready to commit to Nishida. I think that's why Ishikawa hit it, because he saw that nobody was jumping with him. Japan has been maintaining a consistent lead throughout this whole set. Great line serve, overpass to Brazil. And Lucao swings high and hard again into Onodera. That's been Brazil's best matchup here, is the middles against the smaller Japanese middles. See how high Lucao is, even though he hits right into the block, because he's swinging so high and hard, he can get an easy high tool. Now already back to a 1-point game thanks to Lucarelli's tough serving. And Lucarelli has a very interesting jump serve approach. He starts a little off the court and approaches it at an angle. And he puts so much body rotation into the ball. See how he opens up his whole body and then folds his body back into the court. Great pass from Ishikawa. And they've been soft blocking Nishida pretty well as Takahashi. Fernando setting all the way to Leao. And Brazil scores in transition as well. And Nishida knows that he needs to put the ball away for his team here. I think they gave Leao a little too much line for that tool. But what do you do against Leao? If you take away the line, he's going to hit hard into the angle. If you don't take away the angle, he's going to tool you on the line. One of the smartest hitters in the world, and he has the power. He has a great combination of both. Japan still has a side-out advantage, which means if they can pass and score on receive, they will maintain a 1-point lead. So they have the advantage here still. But Brazil has the momentum with Lucarelli's serve, and Takahashi handles it really well. And Wallace D'Souza finishes that block so early, and he reads the situation. See how Wallace is already committed out there. And he knows that Takahashi likes the seam, and Wallace D'Souza dives into the seam at the last second. So that's the difference between Takahashi and Ishikawa. Takahashi tends to swing low, which is pretty common for young players. They try to swing low and downward often, go for the big flashy kills, and the older people, the veterans, keep the ball high. So even if you do get blocked, it's high off the block. Wow, great pass from Yamamoto. That was a laser from Lucarelli. And another great pancake dig from Thales. Can they convert on this free ball? They need to get Onodera going. And Nishida just misses that one. Japan is struggling to find an answer with so many great transition and passing opportunities. Maybe overswinging a little bit. And I like that Japan is just bringing it in the middle, trying to refocus themselves. And we have not seen any challenges yet from Japan, and it looks like they're going to call a timeout. And Kenta in for Takahashi now, because Takahashi's been blocked a couple times. That was a good substitution. Can Japan force a middle kill here? Out of system set to Kenta. He gets one in right away, and a great triple block. I believe Leao gets that one. That's tough to take your hardest swing as soon as you get subbed in. That tends to happen a lot of times when the sub gets in. They tend to set him right away. Wow, Kenta out already. Maybe the coach subbed him out just to talk to him for a little bit. So I don't think he took him out just because of that error. Mainly just to give Takahashi a mental break and refocus him, because they know they need to get him involved in this game. He's actually been playing pretty well so far, just in this last stretch here. Another out-of-system pass, and Takahashi, can he keep the swing high? Yes, he does, but it's a soft block from Brazil. Quick transition to Lukao. Back set to Nishida here. High off the block, and a quick push down from Onodera. It's going to have to be ugly. If Japan's going to score, it just has to be ugly here. Quick two-step approach from Nishida, and he swings high into the block there, and Onodera just still on the net after his coverage and taps it down. And the team celebrates. They have to have a huge sigh of relief on that one. They had a 2-point lead, and Brazil went on a 4-point serving run. What consistent serving from Lucarelli, one of Brazil's best players, probably the best player on their team. And Nishida trying to get something going, but Thales just passing on point. And when you have Lucarelli running full speed, he's unstoppable. Coming in full speed there and not even changing direction. Yamamoto had a read on him, but that was so fast that Yamamoto couldn't even react to. And Yamamoto is one of the best liberos in the world. If he can't react to it, you know it was a hard hit there. Lucarelli being the main reason why Brazil is maintaining their lead this whole match and coming back. Great tip. Oh, another and defensive play from Lucarelli. He almost had that one. What a smart play from Ishikawa. Triple block from the Bic because there is no middle draw. And Ishikawa finds ways to get a kill. That's how you know you're a world-class hitter. When the entire gym knows that the ball's coming to you, you have a triple or a double block, you find ways to get the job done. That's something that Takahashi is still learning, being a young 19-year-old. Nishida is almost there, pretty much there. He's very creative on his attack as well. And we cannot serve at Lucarelli, because then you have the Brazilian machine running in full force. That was a great set from Fernando. And what a huge blessing that Brazil has, that they have Fernando and Bruninho, two world-class setters that can run their team at the same speed. That's what's really hard. Now, I think it helps that they are the same height, so you're going to get the same contact point. But it's the Brazilian training that is so mind-blowing here. And Thales is just everywhere on the court, giving Brazil their opportunities here. And quick tap down from Ishikawa, again, getting a tight set against a double block and finding a way to get the job done. But Thales, can we talk enough about his performance here? Thales and Lucarelli putting the Brazilian team on their back with passing and offense and great defensive plays. Now, Thales is actually the least fiery player on the team, which is ironic because almost every Brazilian volleyball player is fiery, but he's just steady. Steady personality, just like his style of play. Onodera, lethal server with his jump float, but you're going to get some errors with him because he is trying to go for it. And that's such an untimely error here at the end of the second set when Japan's finally starting to get something going. Leao is also a lethal server from the baseline. Good toss, but a little bit conservative on that swing there. Cut shot from Ishikawa. Easy play from Wallace. And high tool into the block from Lucarelli. Brazil is starting to look like their normal Brazilian selves. Their transition game is also world class. Japan's is good, but Brazil, their side-out game, their transition game, they usually have solid defense, and then they just ram it down your throat in transition here. So frustrating to play against. And just out from Leal, that's a good error because you want to go for it when it's 24-20. You want to seal the deal and not let the other team come back. And Mauricio, again, the passing sub. This has been working so well for Brazil. Now, Japan has not been doing a good job serving Leal in the second set. Thales has been getting a lot of balls, as well as Lucarelli. Sakita, short serve, and Thales saving Brazil again on that short serve. And a solo block from Ishikawa. Rare error from Wallace here. I think the set might have been a little too low and inside. Yeah, a little bit inside, and I think, oh no. Decent set. I think it is dying inside a little bit, so Wallace was forced to jump inward and then trying to cut it away from his body, bringing the ball down into Ishikawa's block there. And Ishikawa does a great job lining up. He doesn't go all the way to the antenna and follow the ball. He gets in front of his hitters. And Isak. This is an interesting substitution. Maybe Brazil trying to get a little bit of offense here. And I love Bruninho keeping his team engaged. Even though he's off the court, he is incredibly engaged. Sakita with the harder serve, but again, serving at the wrong person. Is that ball out? And Wallace de Souza with no celebration. And Brazil has to challenge this one just to see if they get lucky with the ball compression. And Thales so steady with his serve receive. Oh, right on the line there. That's a big deep breath from Brazil because Japan was starting to gain that momentum. Now, even though Japan lost this set, the way they ended it is exactly how you want to lose a set. By playing like the score doesn't matter and bringing momentum into the third set here. Brazil now up 2-0. And fantastic falling pass from Yamamoto. Great cover play, and Japan is oh no, Japan was not ready to put that ball away. But Leal was. Now Leal is looking like the old Leal that we all know of. Just high, deep, over the block, in transition. Leal is so good in system and out of system. Now if Japan wants to have any hope of winning the third set, they did a better job in the second set with getting a few middle kills. And Ishikawa bailing Japan out of some tough situations. But Japan needs to receive a little bit stronger. And Japan needs to establish their middles early in the game, not towards the end. That's a much better pass. And there we go with Onodera. It's okay if he gets blocked, because at least Brazil knows he's there. And high wipe off of Ishikawa, once again bailing his team. So interesting fact about Ishikawa is most of the Japanese players, they play in their domestic league, the V League. But Ishikawa chooses to play in Italy. He plays for Milano. And the Italian league is one of the best teams in the world. So you're going to play against some Brazilians, some Russians, some USA players. Pretty much a lot of the top players in the world are playing in Italy and Russia. So that's why he is able to deal with this big Brazilian block here. Fantastic dig from Onodera. One arm save. And typical Japanese defense here. And commit block from Yamauchi. This is very difficult to stop from Lukao because he's drifting to his left. Look at that one-hand save from Ishikawa. Great ball control. See how Yamauchi is spreading his hands and is drifting with Lukao. So that's what we call a commit block, meaning you're jumping and fully committing with the hitter regardless of whether they get set or not. And Yamauchi, great split block technique with the drift, shutting down Lukao at the net, which is rare. Deep jump float to Leal. That's much better serve, but well handled by Leal. And almost dug from Nishida. Nishida's in the right spot. And that wasn't even Leal's hardest hit. It was just a quick chop down the line. So a quick push down the line, low on the set, and Nishida knows he had that one. So that set was a little bit low to Leal, but Leal so smart and knows what to deal with it. A little bit off pass and toss from Lukao here. Can they establish middle? No, Ishikawa gets blocked. He has not gotten blocked too often this one. I think Wallace takes his line away. Yes, you see how his right hand extends out. And he turns his right thumb up, bringing the ball back into the court there. And Ishikawa knows he had a chance to put that away. So Wallace also not the biggest blocker, but you see how smart he is both on blocking and hitting. And that's the Lukao has been playing defense so well during this whole match.
Such power from Leal.
Very rare do you see a middle play this solid of defense here, and Takahashi just can't get out of the way in time because he was in the right spot. But on defense, anything above your head when you're near the sideline is usually going to be out. And now all the pieces are starting to connect for Brazil. With Lukao serving, and they have the in-system play from Nishida. He just unloads on that ball here. Lucarelli makes a great read on the soft line. That means he's a little bit inside. He's in the seam, but it's just too hard. And if Lucarelli, one of the best passers on Brazil, if he can't handle it, you know Nishida put a little extra on that one. Japan still with no production from the middle. Roll shot to Lucarelli. They need to be serving Leal because we know what happens when Brazil gets a perfect pass. 90% of the time, they are going to set anybody, and Yamauchi is forced to commit with Souza, because if he doesn't, Souza's going to have an open net, and that leaves an open lane from Lucarelli. And setters love to set the passers and reward them for that pass, and it's a great way to add extra power when you're transitioning from the pass there. Wallace de Souza looked like he was going for a shortcut across the court. And Japan keeping it close. 1 point difference. Bruninho front row. Are they going to try to set over Bruninho with that blocking matchup to Takahashi? Ishikawa struggling to get his serve going in this match here. Short dribbler. Free ball. And another quick transition play, but a little dying inside there. And good soft block from Ishikawa. All the way out. Quick set to Leal, but Leal gets that seam kill from Yamauchi here. That is the disadvantage of trying to be too tricky sometimes, is you don't get the most consistent setting. So Ishikawa goes in hard for that trick play again, but isn't able to push it out. He gets no blockers up from Takahashi, but because the set was too low, Takahashi was just forced to keep it in play. But that would have been a fantastic finish, and the score would have been 5-5. That would have been the opportunity for Japan to tie it up. Leal's been serving really well during this match so far, forcing Japan out of system here. Takahashi, can he swing high? Yes, he does, but Leal plays great defense behind the block. Lucarelli swinging high, deep corner, and Japan is just struggling to control the attacks from Leal and Lucarelli. The block is well formed, but the defenders just cannot control it, even though it's being hit right at them. Brazil's been looking so great out of system. Brazil extending their lead to 3 points. And Japan struggling to receive the rockets from Brazil. Almost an ace there. And Leal and Lucarelli also have the green light from Brazil. Those are the guys that you want to serve lights out, even if they do make errors like that. Yamauchi has been going with his line serve. Can he force a 2-point run here from Brazil and help Japan get us a point in transition? Down the line to Thales, but Thales has been passing so well. And Lucarelli just crushes it down the line. Lucarelli has a really interesting inside-out approach here. Usually when a player is approaching inside-out like that, they're not going to be in good position to open up to hit the angle. So you want to force them to approach hard into the line, so block the line and force them to hit away from the body, which is usually going to slow down the attack. But take away their hardest hit first, and you see how Lucarelli had a great line swing from that one. Hard swing from Nishida here. He gets a second opportunity to swing down the line, and what a perfect dig from Souza. And Brazil is just too good in transition. The middles from Brazil coming in big off of their defensive plays. And this is just too hard. No blocker up from Leao. He's going to put that away 100% of the time. And Japan needs to make a few changes if they have any hope here during the third set. And there we have Kenta in, subbing in for Takahashi. Brazil with so much momentum, and they've been scoring a lot of their points in transition. They are beating Japan at their own game. Kenta with a decent pass, and finally getting the middle going because Japan has passed well enough. Prior to that, they have not been passing well enough due to Leao's amazing serving performance. Onodera staying open and then going across his body for that easy corner crossbody swing. You notice that he hit a back one when the ball was passed left. That's what middles need to do, is they need to call what they're going to hit in transition. When the pass is pushed left, you need to switch it to a back one because the setter is in your normal territory. Nishida tossing that ball a little too low, forcing him to rush his approach, and that brings the ball down into the net. We have 3 good passes now in for Japan. And Bruninho, not known for his aces, and a great pass from Ishikawa there. Again, establishing the middle from Onodera. That was a solid swing. He just hit a little behind the ball instead of on top of the ball, so the set might have been a little bit outside of his reach. But that's what Japan needs to do. Even though that ball was out, they need to continue to run the middle, and they know that. That's why they keep forcing it here. Can they run him again? No, they run Nishida in system. So even though Brazil was able to set up a block here, Lucas a little bit late, and Lucarelli fully formed, but Nishida makes a great line tool and gives him a little too much line to work on. And Lukao almost takes Lucarelli out on the block. Can they score in transition here? That is Japan's best chance of winning. Kenta with an in-serve here and a missed dig. So as a middle back player, they need to position themselves left or right before the middle gets set. Because if you just stay in the middle of the court, very rarely are you going to dig anything, because that's what the blocker is going to take away. So Onodera did a good job slowing the ball down, but because Kenta is just stuck in the middle, he needs to choose one side or the other and be wrong or be completely right, but not be halfway there. Fantastic serve from Lucarelli and hard deep corner swing from Ishikawa. So now that Japan is passing better, Yamamoto with that diving save. Look at that, diving into the seam there. And Sakita finding Ishikawa's hitting window. He's able to hit over the block. That's how you know Ishikawa is in rhythm, when he's able to swing at his peak there. So Sakita doing a great job running the offense. He just needs better serve reception from Japan. Serving cross court probably to the layout. No, Thales, easy hand pass there. And Onodera almost gets that dig, but one-on-one with Leao, not going to get the job done. And especially against Sakita there. Now it's interesting, even though that's one-on-one, Leao actually still keeps the ball pretty high. He could have crushed it in the middle of the court, but he knows that Sakita might get him if he keeps the swing low. So disciplined hitting from Leao here. Dribbler, great save from Yamauchi here, and another in-system set from Sakita. Can they get the middle going? No, they get Nishida in, and Brazil blocks him. Fast set to Ishikawa, shut down again from Wallace de Souza. Maybe they could have run a big set to Kenta just to keep the middle involved in the game somehow. Solo block from Wallace. Wow. He is such a good read blocker. He's set up in the line, and then he dives into the angle. What a chess game between these two. The lead continues to grow for Japan. 5 points now. Brazil ready for reception here. And jump float from Sakita. He is not someone that is going to be going for aces. They cannot afford any errors from anyone else except for Ishikawa and Nishida. Wallace sometimes gets a little tricky with his serve. He'll toss like he's going to do a topspin, and then he might change it up as well. He's a tricky guy both on his attack and serving. Can he change it up here? No, he just cuts it across to Ishikawa. And they get some middle development going from Kenta. Brazil is not even going anywhere near the middle because there have not been any threats from the back row or the front row. And you see how Yamauchi's jumping completely by himself, not even being faked out. So the setter could have gone to Yamauchi or Kenta there, and there would have been no block up. Can they run the middle again until Brazil respects them? Down the middle there. Back set. Oh, fantastic dig from Yamamoto there, just scooping the ball up. Kenta a little bit more experienced, but tips the ball out. Those are the ones where you just need to have back. You're not going to get that many digging opportunities against Brazil. And Yamamoto with great digging technique. I wish they would show more replays of the defense. He keeps his arms apart, and he just scoops the ball up. He kind of uppercuts it with two hands. You don't always have to form your platform together when you're playing defense here, especially when the ball's moving that fast. Solid pass from Ishikawa. A little bit off play. Another one-arm save from Thales, and soft block into Wallace D'Souza. Wallace D'Souza gets another chance, but he's not ready, and therefore ends up hitting the ball out. Brazil getting a little bit relaxed. That was a quality set from Souza. But can we talk about Thales? Half of his digs have been one-handed. And after Sergio retired from Brazil, everyone was wondering who is good enough to take his spot. And there were many years where Brazil was trying out multiple liberos. They even tried Murillo, who was a former outside hitter. And Thales just came out and proved himself as the premier Brazilian libero there with another pass. Souza, fantastic on his offense here. Big size, stays behind the setter, broad jumps forward, and Bruninho finds his window without having to look at him. And one thing that's great about some of the best setters in the world is they don't just see where you're at, they hear where you're at, and they feel where you're at. There's a lot of other senses they have to use, especially when they're back setting, to find their middles there. And there we go. We have Onodera. It's going to be a couple free kills down the middle until Brazil starts to commit. So see how Lukao is not even looking at the Japanese middle, and that's why Onodera has an open swing. But this is all thanks to better reception from Japan, and Ishikawa has been passing so well. Ishikawa is clearly the best player in Japan with his passing, serving, blocking, and hitting. All-around solid player. Another low toss from Nishida. He's probably not going to get another chance to rotate and serve because Brazil already has 18. So can he make it up with his defense and attack? And Japan, with their weakest front row block, they have Ishikawa, Onodera, and Sakita. This is their smallest front row. Blocked high across the court there, and Nishida able to make up a little bit with his attack. Look at Sakita there. Neutral position. Forces the Brazilian block to be late. Very difficult to read Sakita here. Once again, one of the most underrated setters in the world. And Shimizu in again for a blocking substitution. And Fujii looks like they're going to run the 6-2. And Fujii also a fantastic setter in his own right. Thales passing incredibly well. Can't do that against Brazil here. Need to make it tougher or serve at Leal. And Lucarelli keeping the ball in front with an easy put away. And that's what we talked about earlier, whereas you have to take away a hitter's hardest approach. So whatever line that they're approaching at, that's usually going to be their hardest hit. Get in front of their power line and make them change direction. But that one, they let Lucarelli have his power line because he's jumping straight and he's powering through straight. So not a good block by Japan there. Lucarelli's been serving so well throughout this whole tournament. but he gets one out. And a rare mistake. And one thing I love about Lucarelli's facial expression, he looks upset at himself, even though Brazil is up 19-14. He knows that every point is an opportunity to score, and he doesn't underestimate any team. He's got one speed, which is to be his best all the time. The next question is, can Japan get a couple points with the 6-2 substitution? We have a little bit more size from Shimizu, but this is the first time that we are seeing Fujii into the game. And Isak, he touches the highest. He's got to touch the highest on the Brazilian team. Great height, long arms, good vertical. And Yamauchi actually makes a great read on that block. I think Onodera's on the court. He commits to that block, but Isak just swings too high. Jump serve from Isak. Another fantastic pass from Ishikawa. And they're not. Are they going to call the lift here? Oh, tough play. Tough play. Now, as much as everyone wants Japan to score on that point, the ref is being consistent. So to his credit, he is not caving in to pressure. He is calling it consistent. He hasn't. I don't think he's called a lift yet, but all the referees have been trying to call the power throws lifts in this Olympics here. Another solid jump serve. Poor pass from Yamamoto. And Shimizu with a roll shot into the block. Can he hit a little bit harder? And he does. Coming in off the bench, he recycles it off the block and waits for a better opportunity. I believe he gets, oh no, I thought it was a seam kill. He gets around the block sharp. So the Brazilian block posting a little bit too wide. And he's left-handed, so you should be posting a little more inward. And when you post too wide on the line, you give a left-hander all the angle in the world to snap down on. And Ishida back in. They're going to unwind the 6-2. So Japan has done a great job rotating all the way through. Short serve. Cut a little too sharp from Shimizu. That was his third swing of the match. It's hard to hit your best serve when you've only had 3 swings to warm up and you haven't had a chance to play this entire match here. But Brazil in great position to finish this game 3-0, unless Japan can do something incredible. Wallace D'Souza serves low into the net. He's been missing low across his body. He's probably aiming towards area 1. And if he wants to hit across his body, he needs to keep the ball still on his right shoulder and then rotate, not toss to his left, on his left shoulder and then rotate low into the net. So we always want to keep the ball in line with your hitting shoulder for maximum power and control. The first serve in from Ishikawa and the first ace of the entire match. This is exactly what Japan needs. They need tougher serving, a little bit of side spin. You see how Lucarelli's forced to dive to the right. He was in line with the serve, but the ball was cut across just a little bit.
5 to go.
So Ishikawa closing the lead down to 5 points. This is their chance to last chance to make a run at the Olympics. They need to dig deeper and do something different, find another gear. Another solid serve, but slowed down by the top of the net. And Wallace, untimely error. Let's see what Souza is complaining about. And the coach knows that there was probably no touch on the block. He tells his assistant coach, don't press the replay button. Rare error from Wallace D'Souza. And instead, Brazil calls a timeout. Brazil, with their backs against the wall, they have a 4-point lead, but Japan's starting to get more and more confidence. And if Ishikawa can continue to serve in like that, another ace. Wow. Incredible serving performance so far from Ishikawa. He knows it's on him. That is not even close to the baseline. That's just clean in the seam there. Wow. No reaction from Leao and Lucarelli. And all they can do is just jog away from the ball and reset. 3-point game now. And this is what you want out of one of your leaders. Mauricio in to pass for Lucarelli. Lucarelli is usually passing really well, but he's been getting aced here against Ishikawa's serve. And he does handle that really well. Mauricio's a fantastic passer. Great cover from Thales here, and a quick set again to Leao. Can they chase it down? Oh, so close. So close. And all thanks to Mauricio's pass, and everyone's thanking Mauricio for that one, giving him high fives because they know that he was the reason. They just needed one pass, and look at him. He gets subbed out right away because Lucarelli's back in the front row. Very rarely do you see someone coming in just to pass, but Japan was just serving too well, and Brazil was on their heels. They were at risk of losing their lead if Ishikawa continued his serving performance. Solid serve, but great pass from Yamamoto here. Fast swing to Nishida. But when you don't have any middle development, Brazil, all they have to do is focus on your high ball hitters. And look at that late close move from Souza. So middles, even if you're late, even if you just jump into the seam, you might get a touch. But not trying guarantees no block at all. Can Brazil close it out and ending Japan's Olympic dreams here? 24-20. It's going to be very rare that Japan comes back, but anything can happen. We've seen teams come back before. We'll see who is back on the service line. Kenta. Lots of pressure, but he's been playing with a lot of poise this game as a sub. Actually might have Takahashi come back in. Oh no, Yamauchi for the serve, but not tough enough. And an easy put away from Souza. He's drifting left, and then he hits away from his body to the right. That is a tough loss from Japan. This was one of their best chances with this squad to make one of the best Olympic runs in a long time, since probably the 90s and 80s. But Brazil showing why they are the #1 team in the world still. Even when they have substitutions come in, they are all playing on another level. Tough loss for Japan. Even though Brazil beat Japan in 3 sets, that was still an exciting match to watch. And Japan had a 4-point lead in the second set that they could not maintain. They got stuck in, I believe, rotation 2. And Brazil was serving tough, and Japan could just not figure out how to attack against the big Brazilian blockers. And one thing that was amazing to see from Brazil is they had a slow start. Even though they won, they had a little bit of a slow start, and they continued to get better. And that's how you know they are a world-class team, because even though they've won the first set, they knew that they could have played better, and they need to continue to play better if they want to have a chance to beat Japan and also try to win the Olympics again. So great response from Japan in the third set with Ishikawa's serve. He almost had Japan coming back, and great coaching substitution from Brazil to have Mauricio come in and to give Brazil a lift in serve reception so they can side out. So great coaching moves, great plays all around. And I feel bad for Japan because this is one of the best squads they've had in a while, and it's being hosted in Japan. And I guarantee you, if it wasn't the pandemic, the Japanese fans would have given Japan probably 3 or 4 points, and maybe would have pushed it to 4 sets, because the Japanese crowd has such amazing energy. But unfortunately, Japan couldn't have any advantage from playing at home. So best of luck to Japan in the next 4 years. Hopefully we'll see them in the next Olympics again with a more mature group that will have an even longer run. Maybe they can make it to the semifinals. And good luck to Brazil to maintain their #1 ranking. And we'll see what happens in the semifinals. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.